The Chicago Bears' best possible replacement for Justin Fields just became available. Hey everyone, I'm Andy here with Chicago Bears React, bringing you all of the Chicago Bears news you crave both during the regular season and now in the off season. Before we dive into today's video, please take a moment, like, subscribe, turn on notifications. You're not going to want to miss anything. This is going to be one of the more exciting off seasons I can remember for any of my teams. We're talking number one pick in the draft. We're talking an excess of cap space to spend. We're talking an offensive coordinator to be signed, a defensive coordinator to be signed, and so much more. Make sure you are tuned into what we're doing on this channel so you don't miss a thing. Now, in case you have not been paying close attention, the Chicago Bears are in a precarious situation. Justin Fields is getting closer to the end of the fourth year. He's got one more year left on his current deal. It could be extended into a fifth year if the Bears add the fifth-year option, which they have not done so yet. And they have the number one overall pick in the draft. So what are the Bears going to do at quarterback? Because ultimately, as much as we Bears fans have loved Justin Fields, the person, and also just been excited about some of those tantalizing high-end plays that he possesses, it has been an uneven 3 years with Fields as quarterback, and it seems like the writing is on the wall. Now, it's not a guarantee. You never know what could happen. I feel pretty confident, however, that the Bears are already gearing up to move on and draft a quarterback. And today, the quarterback that I would say the large majority of fans out there believe is the top quarterback in the draft, Caleb Williams, officially declared for the NFL draft. Now, this was a big deal for a number of reasons. One was it wasn't a sure thing. Caleb Williams had another year of eligibility left on his for his time in college. He could have chosen to stay. There was no guarantee that he was going to ultimately go to the NFL draft. With NIL the way it is entirely plausible that he could have chosen to stay put and ultimately not declare for the draft this year. So it's pretty exciting to me that he chose to move on. It was even worded in the official announcement through ESPN that that he was excited for whatever team would draft him. And I think that was a little bit of a subtle nod to Bears fans that, hey, some of the reporting that was out there, which was entirely fabricated, was misleading when many were speculating he didn't want to play for the Bears. And so it's exciting that he looks like he's excited to play for the Bears, and now he is available. So let's take a quick look at Caleb Williams and kind of what are you getting when it comes to Caleb Williams. So from a statistical standpoint, we can see here he's got a few years under his belt, all of which were under Lincoln Riley as his head coach, even if they were for different schools. And ultimately, these are very excellent statistics. You're talking high touchdowns, low interceptions here, 30-5 this past year, 42-5 the previous year. High passer rating. This is somebody who has excelled at throwing the football. And if you watch the tape, and this is one of the things I would encourage Bears fans to do, watch the tape and you'll see this isn't just a quarterback who is throwing to wide open receivers. And I see a lot of people compare Caleb to Justin, and they say, well, you know what, Justin put up great stats in college. Go back and watch both of those tapes, because the thing you're going to see over and over and over again is Justin Fields is throwing from the cleanest pocket you've ever seen in your life to guys wide open. And he's throwing to Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's throwing to guys like Chris Olave, and he had Garrett Wilson and Jameson Williams, and I believe even Marvin Harrison would have been a freshman there during his last season. So, like, we're talking about a quarterback who in college, yes, put up great statistics, but he was doing it in about the best possible position one could. And when you watch Caleb's throwing in a messy pocket to guys with the smallest windows possible because they weren't getting separation. And it's hard not to watch Caleb make these insane throws, making them off platform, making them the way he just gets the ball out. You think he's done. You think the sack is already there, and somehow he finds a way to get the ball out just on a dime, and he throws it on a rope and connects in these tight windows. This is the person that, when you hear NFL evaluators say, good quarterbacks can hit the doorknob of a door. Great quarterbacks can throw it through the keyhole. That's who Caleb Williams is. He's the person who can throw it through the keyhole. He has that kind of talent. The arm talent is something that, frankly, is incredible to behold. And when we look at some of the analysis that's out there, this is coming from Athlon Sports, and the first thing they write here, my goodness, get this dude on your football team. Williams oozes physical gifts and has a fearlessness under duress that should afford him a lot of big plays outside of structure. He's the Picasso of college quarterbacks. And then how about this one right here, this last line? Comparisons are admittedly a dangerous game, but some would dare to invoke the name Mahomes. Squint a bit and watch him play, and I bet you can see it. And this is not the first time this comparison has ultimately been made. It's been made several times, and it's not fair to expect someone to be Patrick Mahomes. But it's hard to find a better comparison because I've never, in all the time I've watched college football, seen a quarterback do the things that Caleb Williams is doing. It's the stuff that you see Mahomes doing on Sundays. And so this is a player that is just exciting in all of the best possible ways. In fact, we can see here, this is from an ABC article, but they noted that ESPN polled a half dozen scouts and executives, and none of them could see a scenario other than Caleb Williams being the number one pick in the draft. Quote, I'd be shocked if he wasn't. Another scout said he's the best player at the most important position. And so you look at that and you say, yes, Drake May seems like an interesting quarterback. I've seen people compare him to Justin Herbert. You've got other quarterbacks in this draft that could potentially be something, but none of them have the immense upside of Caleb Williams. He seems to be the guy. And for those Bears fans who are going to sit here and say, why not Justin? Why can't we go another season? I hear you in so many ways. I think Justin has in some ways gotten a bad beat in Chicago, and in some ways I think he has proven to be a capable quarterback. I think the issue is, one, you can't look at what he's done over 3 seasons and say, yes, this guy is a quarterback you can win because of. You might be able to win with him, but can you win because of him? Which is something that you're ultimately going to have to do the moment you have to start paying him like a top quarterback, because then you can't pay the people around him. And I don't think he's proven that in any way. He hasn't beaten the Green Bay Packers. He has been a part of losing seasons each and every year. Even if they're getting better, it doesn't happen that a quarterback doesn't have it by year 3. It's just, we've never seen it. And we just watched Jordan Love just kick the crap out of the Bears in his first season with Green Bay. And it's like, that's what it's supposed to look like. And I would call everyone's attention to one of the other games that happened over wildcard weekend. And that was CJ Stroud throwing a nearly perfect game. 5 incompletions only, 274 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Quarterback rating 157.2. And that's against the Cleveland Browns, a team we couldn't beat. And CJ Stroud just wiped the floor with them. Why do I bring that up? Because we could have had CJ Stroud this past year. I think it was the right call not to draft him. I think Ryan Poles knew we didn't have the support system around a CJ Stroud to make him as excellent on the Bears as he was this year with Houston. The Bears needed to trade and get that capital. I think now they do have that talent, and I think Fields was surrounded with similar talent. But they were only surrounded with similar talent because they made the trade, because they got DJ Moore, they got Darnell Wright, they got Tyreek Stevenson. And you look at that haul, and I think it was a necessary move to ensure that once the right quarterback was in the house, that they had the support system they needed to thrive. And I don't think if you're Ryan Poles, you can afford to trade the number one pick again and watch Caleb Williams next season doing in the playoffs what CJ Stroud is doing right now. You can't. I don't know how you can do that. As a Bears fan, I don't know how you could stomach watching that happen 2 years in a row because you think Justin Fields is a great guy and has some exciting highlight reel plays on his way to an 8-8 season. It's just not tenable. So, at the end of the day, it's tough, and I'm not sure that the best move isn't to whether or not it's to trade Fields or to keep him on and have maybe Caleb Williams compete with him. I don't know what it is. I just know you cannot trade that pick and pass up the opportunity for a player like Caleb Williams. You just can't do it. So anyway, let me know what you think. Write in the comments if you think Caleb Williams is that guy, if you've seen him, his clips, and you're as excited about him as I am. I would love to know. Or if you hate him, let me know. Ultimately, I don't care. I would love to interact with all of you and get a sense for what Bears fans are truly feeling. And as always, bear down.